Here's how to tie the Taut Line Hitch. Start by wrapping the free end around the object. Then go around the standing end twice in the direction of the loop. Now take the end and cross over and do another turn in the same direction. And finally tug the end underneath itself like this. It's a very simple slide and grip knot that you can use anytime you need to tension the guy lines of your tent or your tarp, or if you need to make a close hanging line. If it still slides when you pull on it, you can do 3 turns or even 4 turns before finally finishing the knot. This will make it harder to slide, but it will have much more friction. And that's how a finished taut line hitch should look like. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the adjustable grip hitch. Start by taking the end of the rope and going around the support. Then go around the standing end 2 times. 1, 2. Then do another turn, but this time around both strands. And finally tug the end underneath the last turn. Before using it, tighten the knot by holding it with your one hand and then with your other hand pulling the end of the rope, and then repeating the same process, only this time pulling this strand. So the main idea of this knot is that you can adjust the size of this loop pretty easily, but at the same time, if you pull on the rope over here, then it doesn't tighten by itself. This allows you to easily tension this rope. For example, you can use it when tensioning your tent guy lines and in other similar situations. It is very similar to the taut line hitch, which is pretty much as reliable and just as easy to tie. The main difference here is that if it's sitting against a large diameter support, it doesn't work as well as the taut line hitch. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Here's how to tie the Munter Hitch Knot. Use this knot whenever you need to pull heavy logs because it grips them very well, and the standing end exits right in the direction of the log, so it's very easy to pull. You can also use it to bundle up a bunch of smaller kindling to bring back to your fire. Start by taking the end of the rope and placing it parallel to the log. After that, you need to go around the log. Then go underneath the standing end and underneath itself. And now you need to continue tying around this strand another 2 or 3 times. Tighten it as much as you can and you're pretty much good to go. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the 2 Half Hitches Knot. Start by taking the end of the rope and going around the support. Then go around the standing end and through this loop formed over here, and tighten the knot. And then proceed by tying another identical half hitch in the same direction, and finally tighten it. It isn't the most secure knot, but it does work well with most types of non-slippery ropes. You can use it pretty much any time you need to attach a rope to a ring or a post. But if you want a stronger knot, then it can be improved in 2 ways. The first way is to do 1 additional turn around the post before tying the 2 half hitches. This makes it much stronger. And in this case, it's called the round turn and 2 half hitches knot. The other one is to just tie another half hitch after the second one. In this case, it's called the 3 half hitches knot. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the Tensionless Hitch Knot. It's the strongest hitch knot to use around a support because it doesn't lose any strength in the knot itself. In fact, the end strength is just as strong as the breaking strength of the rope itself. You can use it to create an attachment point around a tree when rappelling, climbing, or in various car winching setups because it's really strong. Start by wrapping the end of the rope around the support 3 to 4 times. When that's done, take the end of the rope and fold it in half. Now take the end and go under, over, under, and through the final opening over here. Now you've tied what's called a figure 8 on a bight. Take your carabiner and go through this final loop and around the standing end to finish the knot. But if you want to, you can also tie it without using a carabiner. After making the 4 full turns, take the end of the rope and go under itself, over, under, and through the final loop to create a loose figure of 8 knot. Now take the end and go around the standing end as illustrated over here. And finally, you need to retrace the loose figure of 8 that you just made with the end of the knot just in the other direction. Now the knot is finished and it works pretty much in the same way, only it's a bit harder to untie later on. To learn other useful knots, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Here's how to tie the Anchor Hitch. Start by taking the end of the rope and going 2 times around the object. Now take the end and go over and underneath both of these loops. And tighten it as much as you can before proceeding next. Then take the end and again go around the standing end and this time tuck it underneath itself over here, creating another half hitch. It's essentially a very strong hitch that is very unlikely to untie even with heavy or intermittent loads. It's actually very similar to the round turn and 2 half hitches knot, except here the first half hitch goes underneath both of these loops, making it more reliable and stronger. Use it anytime you need to attach something heavy to a pipe, a pole, or something similar. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the barrel hitch. Use it anytime you need to lift off heavy barrels or buckets. Start by taking the end of the rope and placing it like this, and then putting the bucket on top of it. Now take both ends, go over it, and do a simple overhand knot. Now expand the middle part of this overhand knot and put it underneath these lips over here. Then create a loop in the standing end, go through it with the working end, around the standing end, and finally back through the loop to create a bowline knot. And that's how a finished barrel knot should look like. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the Clove Hitch, which is one of the most useful knots to know in everyday situations. To tie it, take the end of the rope and go around the post on the right side, then go around it once again, but this time on the left side, and finally tug the end of the rope underneath this strand over here and tighten it. But also make sure to dress the knot neatly together so that there's no slack when you pull on it. It isn't the most secure hitch, but it's pretty strong and you can tie it very easily. But what's even better, you can untie it very easily when you don't need it anymore. If you want to make it more secure, you can tie another half hitch around it here in the front. Instead of a half hitch, a lot of people like to do another clove hitch on the top, but I found that the bottom clove hitch usually tends to seize up pretty badly if you do that. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the halter hitch. Take the end of the rope and go around the support. Now go around the standing end, then make a bite at the end of the rope and pass it through itself like this. Finally, tighten the knot and then pull the standing end so that the knot sits right against the support. It's pretty much the simplest quick release hitch out there. Despite its simplicity, it's still considered a somewhat secure hitch. Now, of course, it isn't reliable enough to trust with your life, as with pretty much all quick release hitches, but for most applications, it's secure enough. To release it, simply pull on the tag end and the knot comes undone. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Here's how to tie the Lighterman's hitch. Start by wrapping the rope around the support 2 times. You'll need to leave the end pretty long because you'll need to wrap around the support many times. Now take the end of the rope, pass it underneath the standing end, and then do another turn on the top. As you tie it, make sure to adjust these strands so that they're sitting next to one another. After that, take the rope end and go around the support and do another turn around the top. Then again, go around the support and do another turn. And finally, to secure it, take the end of the rope and go around the support and tuck it underneath itself to create a half hitch, and then tie another identical half hitch right underneath it to secure it with 2 half hitches. This is known to be one of the strongest hitches out there because the force is evenly distributed along the whole knot. It's easier to tie than the tensionless hitch, so use it anytime you have access to the free end of the post, like I have right now. Another benefit is that it doesn't jam and you can untie it very easily. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the slipped buntline hitch. Start by going around the post with the end of your rope. Then pass it over the standing end and do another full turn around it. It should now look something like this. Now you need to create a bight at the end of the rope, and you need to pass it behind the standing end like this. First, you need to tighten the knot itself, and you do it like this, and then by pulling this loop. Only once it's completely tight, only then you can slide it towards the support. It isn't as secure as the tumble quick release hitch, but it's secure enough for most tasks. Its main advantage is that you can tie it very quickly and easily, making it perfect to use for most situations. To release it, simply pull on the end. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Here's how to tie the Super Munter Hitch. First, tie a regular Munter Hitch by going through the carabiner, then around the lowering end, and finally back through the carabiner, but over to the other side. And to tie the Super Munter, again go around the lowering end and through the carabiner, but this time exiting over to the other side. Because of this additional step, it has more friction compared to the regular Munter Hitch. This is really useful when you need to lower something very heavy. For example, in search and rescue, or when lowering very heavy climbing gear. One issue with the regular Munter Hitch is that as you descend, the rope tends to twist and turn and sometimes even gets stuck. This doesn't happen with the Super Munter Hitch because the additional step kind of evens everything out and the rope doesn't twist and turn anymore. To learn other useful knots, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.